It was a typical morning, or so I thought. My 10-year-old son was excited to catch the school bus, but when he boarded, a woman, her face twisted with anger, was watching from the front of the bus. Without warning, she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. "This driver is picking up a black child. He doesn't deserve to be driven," she shouted. My son, confused and scared, didn't know what was happening. Why was she targeting him? Why was she calling the police? Keep watching. This moment would leave us questioning everything. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. It was supposed to be just another school day. I watched from the window as my son, a bright and curious kid, ran out to catch the school bus. He waved at me from the sidewalk, his backpack bouncing with each step. He had been looking forward to today, like any other child would. I thought about how he had worked so hard on his latest school project. This moment, this routine, was meant to be safe. But it wasn't. As he stepped onto the bus, a woman, someone I'd never seen before, stared at him from the front seat. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then I saw her mouth moving. Something about the look in her eyes struck me as off. Before I could process it, she began speaking to the driver, and what happened next would shatter my perception of normalcy. It wasn't just a call for help, it was a call for harm. My son, completely unaware, took his usual seat by the window. The bus started moving, but something felt different this time. I stood by the window, heart pounding in my chest. The woman was still watching him, her gaze sharp and filled with judgment. Then, suddenly, she got up. She walked toward the driver, blocking his path. "Excuse me, can you stop this bus?" she demanded, her voice cold. "I need to talk to you." The bus driver, a calm, kind man, glanced in the rear-view mirror. "What's the issue, ma'am?" "That child," she said, pointing at my son. "You can't be picking him up. He doesn't belong on this bus." Her voice trembled with hate, but her words cut deep. I felt my blood run cold as I realized what she was doing. She wasn't just complaining about a bus schedule or route. She was calling into question my son's right to ride that bus. The driver, clearly taken aback, tried to explain. "He's a student here. He's allowed on the bus." But it was too late. The woman had already pulled out her phone. I could hear her voice rise as she called 911. "Yes, I need the police. There's a black child on this bus, and I don't think he deserves to be driven. He's not one of us." The moment her words hung in the air, everything around me seemed to stop. I watched my son through the window, his face a mixture of confusion and fear. He didn't understand what was happening, why this woman was singling him out, or why the bus driver wasn't doing anything. I rushed out the door, my heart pounding, knowing I had to be there for him. As the police arrived, I couldn't believe this was real. The officers didn't know how to respond, caught between protocol and a situation that seemed too absurd to comprehend. My son, sitting there, trembling, looked out the window at me as if to ask, "Why me?" I was left with the painful realization that this wasn't an isolated incident. This was a reality far too many people face. My son made it home that day, shaken but safe. The woman was escorted off the bus, and the police eventually left. But I knew that moment would stay with us. For him, for me, nothing would be the same. The fear, the shame, the disbelief. It was a burden neither of us should have to carry. But the real question is, how many other children will experience this before we truly see the world for what it is? How many more stories will go untold? My son's story isn't the only one. It's part of a larger, painful pattern of discrimination. The question is, when will enough be enough? How many more stories like this will it take before equality is more than a seat assignment? Tell me, where are you watching from? Take care.